Potential market downturns is something that awaits us at this stage. You can almost feel the fear on the tip of your tongue from the market participants and from the market itself. Today we're specifically talking about the situation in meme coin markets out there. A lot of coins are reaching the end formations of the uptrend movements. A lot of coins are actually starting to correct. Today we're talking about the ones that still can provide you with very nice upside at this stage, and ones from which I think you shall be taking profits from at this stage. A lot of good meme coins traders I know actually stabled up in the last couple of days. Press the like button, and without further ado, let's start. First on the list is POPCAT. We tried to break up to $430 million market cap when the market was slightly more bullish, and this is just a previous analysis that I was essentially sharing. I was sharing that we should probably bounce back to this support zone at this stage, which previously just a week ago was definitely a major resistance. Last time from this resistance we actually got rejected by 64% out there. Right now we're just retesting this level, and if the market structure will actually be able to sustain a bullish momentum at this stage, we shall be bouncing back from this support. So if you have some limit orders set up in terms of entering POPCAT around these levels, should be pretty nice, should be pretty alright. The next support level you might be thinking on, if the market is going to drop slightly more, but at the same time it's just not going to reverse and go back to like $74,000, right, is somewhere around $285 million. I won't say that's a very strong support out there. I do like the level of 336 much more, but at the same time the targets that you have for the upcoming uptrend is $650 million in market cap, which is a 2x, almost a 2x even since the current levels for this asset out there. Next thing is Troll, which actually just perfectly touched the $41 million level, which I figure out with a simple fib extension, as you can essentially see on the chart at this stage. This chart for formation is just a default chart for formation for any, like I've seen this chart so many times, like last year. It's just a default chart formation for meme coin pumpages out there. It's very interesting how they operate and how they manipulate the traders out there. A huge question you might have at this stage is whether or not we're sustaining this uptrend, and whether or not you should essentially be bidding here, or are we breaking lower from these levels. It's even hard to say what type of supports we might be coming to, right? So I would say $29 million and $25 million are two supports that you have. If we're not holding them, probably going way back to $18.5 million out there. We're also on the nice trend line at this stage, right? So if you believe we're actually sustaining the uptrend here, which probably would mean that market is not going to be bearish, that the market will just continue, you might be entering currently. Invalidation from this trade is also a very nice thing. I would say you can just put 10 to 15% stop loss from these levels and just set your buy limit orders around these support areas. But my bet at this stage is that we are breaking down from here, and we are essentially going lower for Troll right as we speak, and in the near future as well. TCOIN, something very interesting. Unfortunately, we broke down through the uptrend that was shared yesterday. And yesterday I actually told you that like we are at a make or break point, and this was a very nice invalidation as well. If you entered this one, you probably should have stop loss in the first place, right? Because once these things are actually breaking down, they're breaking down a lot. Because these are meme coins on Solana, people tend to dump these things like crazy. They just don't hold them in the first place. So I would say your like strongest support zone at this stage is somewhere around $15 million in market cap, 14.7, right? Right now we're definitely at a certain support area, so you might be buying here if you think that this uptrend will essentially continue from these levels. Quite hard to say, because the narrative for TCOIN probably was something like a shorter one, and it's pretty much lost to Housecoin, and it seems like it's losing the holders at this stage. So would be very interesting to see what will be happening with this one, right? Whether or not we're just bouncing, touching this third time, going back down, and yeah, just going back to accumulation area right here. So this is the possible scenario, unfortunately, for this thing, especially if the market will be turning bearish from these levels. So be very careful in terms of entering this thing from my point of view at these levels. Next thing is RFC, also breaking down through all of the possible support. So it's very interesting price action in the chart as well. We broke up here, right, which I was assuming at that stage and at that point of time that this actually might be the reversal out there, but we're essentially breaking lower and we do not have a lot of supports left, right? It's only this one at 9.4 and then at 2.7, and at 2.7 this thing probably will be dead out there. I do not like this huge red price action because it means that people are just dumping because they just seen that this thing just had a fake out, right? The fake out uptrend breakout, and it was not able to hold, and it is just dumping at this stage. Your limit orders might be set somewhere around $9.4 million if you would like to enter. Hard to say for the narrative wise around this thing as well, because yeah, it's pretty hard to assess if this thing is something long-term or mid-term. I won't say so. I won't say so at this stage. Thus far it looks like a farm, and it's gonna be pretty hard to predict the reversal for this thing out there. I'm just sharing the support zones, and I would just advise to beat and just to set your limit orders around that levels as well. Next thing is POPCAT, which is also breaking down the support. Yesterday I was also saying this probably make or break level. You're either buying here and we are reversing from here, or we're essentially breaking down. Therefore, you should have a very short stop loss for this entry, because this type of entries I like, because you're essentially entering at the support zones. Unfortunately, we broke down from this support zone. The area for demand that I might be seeing for this coin is somewhere from $4.5 to $5.5 million in market cap. If we're breaking lower, unfortunately, I do believe that this thing will probably be dead. It's almost like the second pump was kind of like an exit pump out there, right? So it would be very interesting to see the price movement on this coin moving further. If you would want to set up some limit orders, somewhere around $5 million is a nice level to have your limit buy order out there, with an invalidation for the coin closing below $4.5 million in the market cap. Next thing on the list we have is Wizard, and the chart of Wizard is pretty similar to the chart of most of these coins. Like, it's definitely more bearish situation in terms of the Solana meme coin market, because we can see that all of these old plays that we're actually accumulating, and I do have bullish charts for them at this stage. What are they doing? They essentially are rejecting. They're saying that there is not enough liquidity in the marketplace, there is not enough demand on the marketplace for these coins, and current holders or people who are essentially buying here, they are selling. Probably a lot of them are at a loss at this stage. So we are reaching the global area of support for Wizard at this stage. I would say that we probably should be breaking through. I'm just not seeing the catalyst, only if the market will reverse heavily from here. I would say your ideal point of entry should be at the bottom of this range. So somewhere around $2.4, $2.6 million if you would be setting up your limit orders. This should be quite nice, and it should be quite nice move up as well, at least to the tops of this range to $7 million, somewhere around 2.5x, pretty nice on this market. Again, in Sol memes, as far as I figure out at this stage, it's all about the entry point out there, because people love to just trade them out there. Housecoin, we almost touched our level of $120 million, but I just do believe that $100 million was a big, very big psychological level for this thing. Very interesting chart. We've seen this type of chart on many memes out there that were present on the market, right? And the best I'm seeing here is, to be honest, second high. That would probably be somewhere around the levels of this high, maybe slightly higher. So something I would essentially expect us to touch $120 million. But before that, I would actually expect us to go lower and print a deeper correction from this level. So we can see thus far the correction is around $25 million, right? We do have some FIB levels out there. We do have some core supports. I would say a 60% correction for this type of coin should be quite default, which would kind of put us at this like 0.5 FIB level out there, right? And this would be like just a generational entry. I also do believe it's essentially going to be the bottom of this support range that I provided you with yesterday, right? So if you would just have a limit order somewhere around $48 to $50 million in market cap, I do believe that you should be seeing the expansion of this coin to $120 million, which would pretty much make it 2.5x with giant size and with a pretty nice entry point out there. Obviously, it would only be happening if some whales would be dumping. following the chart of this thing, I'm kind of see this happening because I do believe there is a very small amount of reason on this marketplace at this stage for someone to be buying into $87 million coin when it had the pumpage in the size of 11x in the last week, right? Even in the last 5 days or something, right? So no one is buying that from these levels. Something I do expect is, yeah, second high, classic second high pattern, which will finish up the wave 3, the uptrend wave 3 of the movement of this coin, right? Which you probably would be able to trade out 2.5x and then try to find for some ways to short this thing from this high that this thing will essentially set up. One of the interesting examples of the current market efficiency in this crypto market at this stage is that beta plays, they are growing up along with alpha plays. So how it was before is that alpha play was essentially going up, and then when alpha play was topping, people were selling out of alpha play and buying into some beta plays, right? Right now, since the market became way more efficient, right? Beta plays are actually growing at the same time as alpha plays are growing out there. So Jobcoin is something I have huge hope on, is because I was seeing this thing at 100k. I was looking at it like multiple times, 160k as well, and I didn't buy, unfortunately, right? It would be a very nice like 3 to 50k trade in a matter of days out there, because the narrative for this thing is quite nice. Buy instead of getting a job, right? So buy Jobcoin instead of getting a job. Your core level of support for this thing is probably around $1.08 million market cap. I won't say it's a very strong one. The stronger one I'm seeing is somewhere around 770k market cap, right? So something I would essentially see here is it bouncing and coming back eventually to here. To be honest, even to here, because like these low caps that don't have bundle supply, don't have market makers, they're just running because the alpha place is running. Oftentimes, yeah, they're not doing very well. And then it would be the huge question if it's going just to be breakdown and go lower, or if it's actually going to reverse from here and start the uptrend and things like that. I want advice to be buying that only if the market would really be bullish and if Housecoin will be leading out there. Volumes are not also that big for the market cap of the coin out there. Probably from my point of view, buying at each support area would be a mistake, only if you want to take like these swing trades on these like low cap, maybe like 20% bounce, 25% bounce, only if you would want to be taking these bounce swing trades, which I do think might be happening in the future on this chart moving further. Next on the list is 100 man versus Onegorilla. I was publicly bearish on the potential of this thing, kind of topped at $7 million. I do not honestly believe that it will be recovering from here, just because of the fact that Anson was already soft shilling it. So kind of like the most bullish catalyst already happened for this coin, and it's also like a very short-term thing. It's just about retail being bullish on one certain thing out there, and like this discussion. I think Conor McGregor shared something on this yesterday. I don't believe it will essentially be becoming huge from these levels, right? It definitely takes like proper teams. Housecoin, Troll, they definitely had proper teams behind them, and this thing I do believe unfortunately does not have something like this behind it, right? Current entry point, if you still think that this thing might be bullish, yeah, we probably are in a nice area to enter this thing out there. I would say like from 3.4 to 3.7 is a nice one. Then you have the obvious support area somewhere around $3 million, and yeah, then we essentially, if we're breaking down through that, we're probably going to 185, where we don't have a bunch of support out there, to be honest. So we shall be seeing a demand from these levels, but we already said this double top, right? We already had a 3-wave expansion for this coin. I'm quite bearish on this one. I do believe that a lot of things that people are talking about it are priced into this chart already, and it does not have the same type of virality and the same type of support of different teams and different cabals out there. Lemon, something that appeared on the marketplace just yesterday, had a very nice run. To be honest, I missed that, but what you can see with the naked eye here, 1, 2, 3. You can also see that like short high is actually very close to the second high, which is a classic scenario for these type of expansions, these type of moves. It's classic 3-wave structure out there. Positive thing is that we're kind of in the uptrend at this stage, right? So probably slightly lower, somewhere right here. Hard to say. It's also like a short-term thing. Dog stolen from Tesla. I think in a week from now, no one will actually care about that. Something I would be seeing here is that this will flop. We will break down, and yeah, probably we'll just start never endless downtrend from this thing. This is just something I'm seeing about this chart. Can it do something that Housecoin did and just extend from here? Hard to say. The narrative from my point of view is quite weaker, and it seems like it had most waves of growth, but again, this is a 1 hour chart, right? So it's definitely harder to analyze things from the 1 hour charts out there, but this is just something I'm seeing around this one. Motion is actually something like a word from Gen Z that is very, very popular between younger guys out there. We can see green candles at the launch. Classic uptrend. Yeah, the chart is also does not have a lot of history out there. Kind of getting rejected from this giant resistance area because we've been doing quite a lot of trading around this area as well. We're also kind of like forming the triangle pattern. So I would say that current entry point is also make or break point. Your bullish case scenario is that this thing just continues right here and essentially it's breaking up and it continuing higher. Your bearish case is that it just breaks down from here and dies. Will heavily depend on the market. I would honestly think more on the bearish side, specifically about this coin if you're holding this. And I won't also say that this is like a very, very good ideal entry because the breakout risk reward is not like the best out there. Maybe if it breaks down to like 700k and it reverses from there, to enter somewhere in this area would be pretty nice, 100%. And there is a chance that we will be coming back into this area, but overall it's harder. It's harder in terms of this thing. Last but not least is Aura Farm, which is also a Gen Z type of word at this stage. And I would say that motion is definitely a better play of this coin. So what we see here is a classic parabola type of chart. And yeah, to be honest, I'm also seeing that we had our wave 1. I would say like even these two probably like closer to wave 1. We had our wave 2, which is like the biggest expansion from these levels to wave 2, right? And we shall probably be seeing our wave 3, but don't expect to like make a lot from it. Only like if you caught the bottom at 2.2, like probably it will go like slightly higher than this high out there. It's even hard to talk about $7 million, to be honest here. I would say it should be like stopping somewhere in this area from my point of view. Obviously depending on the team and things like that. Liquidity on this thing is also quite low. Not an ideal scenario, not a very bullish chart from my point of view. Just be careful with this thing, right? And point number 3, wave number 3, let's see what the future will bring. Not a very, very good entry point from my point of view, right? And the narrative as well, like I would say I'm often like out of these narratives, like I don't understand them fully myself. Let's do holder as the last one, $2.2 million. Yeah, nothing to say here. Absolutely a random chart. Let's not do it, all right? This is probably it. Thank you very much for watching this one. Stay healthy and rich. Let me know if you have any questions and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.